What is up, everybody? Welcome back. I always start the show off with those companies who make this podcast possible. Tonight, it's only one. It is who is going to be on the podcast tonight. This is going to be amazing. I can't wait for you guys to really hear and learn about what this does. Guys, Chiirp, we've all had those companies out there where they make us promises and they don't keep them. They're supposed to do all these things and they don't do it, or they don't do exactly what we want. We all know that we make the most money off of our existing customer base, and we have to be in contact with them, but it needs to be in a professional manner and it needs to seem real. Well, guys, this is your answer. Chiirp is the answer. Mr. Ryan, who you will meet tonight, everybody who is a part of HVAC Uncensored Nation, if you go to www.chiirp.com /HVAC Uncensored, he's going to give you 50% off your first 3 months. 50% off. Guys, go book a demo. Before you decide to do it, book a demo, watch it, see what this thing does. It is absolutely amazing. We'll talk about it when we start the show here in a second. I was talking back and forth thinking that I was texting Ryan, and it wasn't him. That's to go to show you how good it is. It was responding back to me and everything. It was simply amazing. We use Chiirp at Beltway. I can't wait to dig into this thing more. So check out Chiirp, and you're going to find out right here tonight. So let's get this pledge and rock and roll. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Five, four, three, two, one. Go.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Special episode for you tonight. I am your host, Gil KV Jr. Guys, a great show, man. I told you there's been some new amazing partnerships with the podcast. Tonight, it is one of them that I am super excited about. I think I have an all-star team of partnerships that I work with, and this one just rounds it off. So, guys, we're going to get right into it. Everybody put your hands together and help me welcome the owner and CEO of Chiirp, Mr. Ryan Fenn. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Gil.
Yeah, happy to have you, man. I guess before we get into everything, I guess let the people know a little bit about you. Like, who is Ryan Fenn? How did Chiirp come about? All that kind of stuff.
Sure. Thank you. I've been pretty entrepreneurial, my whole life as a little kid and everything growing up. My brother and I, about 10, going on 12 years ago now, we started a business, a local business. It was a very basic business. We fixed windshields. Rock flies up and hits the windshield, puts a little chip in the windshield. That's what we did. And so we were just out hustling. We were just out there doing whatever we had to do. We knocked doors. We'd hang out at gas stations and just do whatever we had to do to make money to feed our kids. And we started to get some pretty good traction. We got to where we had about 9 different locations. Eventually we got into some dealerships, and we were in like 9 different dealerships, and we had 9 technicians working for us. And it was a great business for, our first success as entrepreneurs. And in 2015, I started to put together content to build a course on how to be successful in the windshield repair business, how to start your own windshield repair business. I started this course, and I started selling it using Facebook ads and text messaging. And I would put out the Facebook ad. The lead would come in, and I would text the lead and have a conversation with them, send them our presentation, and then I would, book a call and close a sale. And we started automating this text messaging process. And I made I made around $2 million selling this course.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And it was like the light went off, and I saw that this automation process, this following up that I was doing, I was piecing together, multiple softwares to make this all work. And I just saw that it was just, a killer opportunity for other businesses. I needed to get this in the hands of other people to use it because it worked so well for us. And so I started in 2018, I started building Chiirp. It wasn't called Chiirp at the time. We didn't know what it was going to be called, but we started building the software. And over the last 3.5 years, we've built what I believe to be the most powerful automation platform for small businesses to maintain perfect follow-up with your customers. So from the moment that a lead becomes a lead all the way through the entire journey, you're communicating perfectly with your customers. And just a couple of years ago, we said, as home services started to really latch onto it, we really focused down and said, you know what, we want to focus on the home service industry, and here we are today. So
that's an amazing story, man.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a bit of the straight line version of it. There's a lot of up and downs. Looks more like the stock market going up and down, but
pretty much you persevered. You ate your shit sandwiches. You were already making some success, and to take that risk to go another direction, most people don't do that and go out of their comfort zone. So that's pretty awesome, because granted, we haven't been on Chiirp. I mean, honestly, we haven't been using Chiirp forever, but Chiirp, I've used all your competitors and nothing is like Chiirp. So thank God that you decided to go that route, because there is nothing like it. And I was joking in the video, telling everybody when you showed me that wasn't you messaging me back. And I was like, it's funny. I feel like a dipshit, but in the same token, that just shows you how powerful it is, because it was real. If you would have never told me that was automation, I would have never known.
Yeah, and that's the idea. Like, we're not trying to automate out the human entirely. We're not trying to, get rid of people's jobs. We're trying to enhance them and make them more powerful. And by creating those automations, it's still you. You wrote the message originally, but that allows you to just be way more efficient, because it's doing a lot of the tedious follow-up that would take hours and hours. It's doing it for you.
Or it gets missed. It just doesn't, it doesn't
happen.
Yeah,
or it's more common than the other, right? Just people just don't do it.
Yeah, this is consistent, and when it's set up, what you want to happen is going to happen every time. It's just no way around it. I have to ask, so do you still have your windshield businesses, or when you did this, you just let it all go?
I do. So one of the windshield business itself is still operational. One of our technicians that started earlier with us, we let him kind of take it over and run the business. I still have a small stake in it, but I'm independent of it. I don't run it. And then the course is also still available as well. So
nice. That's sweet.
We don't. It's not my 100% main focus, so it has suffered as far as growth a little bit, just because this Chiirp has become a much bigger opportunity. But we still bring on clients as they come in. It's just not our 100% main focus. So.
No, that makes sense. So you have I know this isn't that old. Like, is there a lot of people for Chiirp? I mean, is this, what I mean? Like, I know it's growing in the software, but is there like a big team of people at Chiirp, or is this kind of thing, once it's developed, you don't really need a whole bunch behind the scenes?
We're trying to stay as light as we can so that we can provide it in a cost-effective way to the customers. A lot of these companies, their metric for success is how many employees they have, which to me is silly. I want to be light so that our costs are low, so that we can pass those on to the customer without obviously suffering. Without that suffering, we still need customer support. We have guys and people ready to help and that kind of thing, but we are bootstrapped. and we are light and nimble. We can move very quick.
That's awesome because I'll be honest, when we met with you, I was surprised at how affordable you were, especially the fact that you do so much more than everybody else. So we already signed up, so you can't raise your prices on us. But, I'll be honest, because some of these other people and what they're charging and the limitations they have, I was like, this is awesome, So that's cool that you do that, but it also makes sense. They're trying to have these. Oh, we have this big multi-million-dollar building in California that we sit around and go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we charge all this money for our service. So, yeah, that's awesome. So I guess nobody can explain it better than you. To these listeners, viewers, or the people that listen to the audio version after, let's explain Chiirp, exactly how it's going to help them in their business on a day-to-day basis. So it's kind of like a quick demo, but not.
Yeah. So the key to Chiirp is our deep integrations that we have with the multiple CRMs that are out there. So Service Titan, Service Monster, House Call Pro. We're working on Sarah and some other ones as well. But what really sets us apart from everybody else is our extremely deep integrations, which give you the freedom to create the follow-up that you want to create and create the customer journey that is unique to your business and exactly what you want it to be. To give you an example, so we focus on, from the very beginning that a lead is a lead all the way through the customer journey. We want to make sure that our communication with that contact is perfect. So we start at the beginning, the amount of time it takes us to contact the lead, our speed to lead, right? You've heard that. The key there is that if somebody's going to submit their information and request information, either on your website, a Facebook ad, wherever it is, we have to make sure that we contact that lead within a minute of them submitting their information if we want to have the highest chance of conversion. Everybody knows leads have a short shelf life. If they don't hear back quickly, they're moving on to the next guy. And so with automation, we're able to very quickly grab that contact information, start a text message conversation that is natural, and establish that communication so that we're contacting them within a minute without you having to drop everything to do that. This is really, really, really important. It's the very, like, if we're looking, I have my hand stretched out for those of you that are just listening to this, but if that's the customer journey from one hand to the next, this part is just the very first inch of that customer journey, and it's crucial that we contact very quickly. So that's step one. The beauty of what our integration as well is, you can, at that point when a lead, wherever it's captured, it can come in and immediately into your CRM. So whether it's into House Call Pro, Service Titan, whatever, it's going to also populate over there. And that can happen at any point during the journey. Now, as an example of this, let's talk about, like, if you're buying like leads from, everybody's favorite, Angie leads or something, everybody just hates these companies, but we do have a lot of customers that have success with them. It's kind of a love-hate relationship where they have to keep it going just because they're making money from it.
Yeah.
But we can actually webhook into those leads, and this is any lead source. So I'm just using Angie's as an example, but think of any lead source wherever a lead is coming from. We webhook into these Angie leads, and we can capture that data and start a text message conversation for you. And oftentimes that happens before the email even gets to your inbox. So you're beating out the other 5 people that they sell it to. We're able to contact that lead, immediately through automation. So that's the first part of the customer journey. The next part would be follow-up. People are sending, I'm actually like shocked still to see how many estimates are being sent out through these CRMs, whether it's Service Titan, any of these estimates are going out, and that's the end of it. If they don't hear back from the customer, they don't do anything to try to close that deal. They don't call them again. They don't call them a week later. They don't follow up. Some do. Some will call a couple of times, but there's very little consistency in the service industry of follow-up. And so our integration allows us to trigger the follow-up at when the estimate is sent, so that if they do not accept that estimate, it's going to start following up with text messages, emails, and ringless voicemails for as far out as you want. And so, and here's the beauty of the integration. You can choose based on the parameters of the job. So you have, like, let's use Service Titan as an example. You have business type, job type, you have tags, you have the technician, you have all these different filters. You have residential, commercial. So you can choose, all right, for all my residential jobs who have this tag or this job type, do this campaign. But for all my commercial jobs who do this, this, and this, do this campaign. And so you have that freedom to follow up. It's not just a generic follow up. It's very specific to the type of job that we're talking about here. So that's the kind of that front end, right? That conversion, the lead conversion stage of the customer journey. That really allows us to create custom follow up there. Should we keep going on into the the post job and all of that stuff? Should we keep going there?
We can keep going into it. One thing I want to say real fast is you're totally right about people not following up. I can't tell you how many customers I followed up with, and they've actually told me, you're the only person that has called me back.
Oh, it's almost daily in the Chiirp group where people are posting a screenshot of a text message that went out like 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later. The text message goes out automatically and somebody responds and says, oh yeah, so sorry, I've been busy. Yes, we do want to move forward on this. Which those jobs would just be long gone, right? They would just never happen had that single text message not gone out, at that point. So follow up is, if people just use Chiirp just for this one part we're talking about here, it would 100% be worth what you pay for it. But it does, a lot more beyond that. So,
I was going to say real fast, what other people need to realize too, talking to some friends, is automation, like, there is no way to automate it, like, to where no human interaction is there. Like, this is something to provide, like, consistency, do those little tasks that somebody else doesn't have to do, but at some point a human is going to have to take it over. Like, when some people think, automation, they think like, oh, well, I still have to, end up messaging the customer. So, like, a lot of, like, one-man bands are like, oh, well, I still don't have time for it. It's like, yeah, but even if you're doing just the automation part and then doing it when you can, like, you're still helping yourself. You know what I mean? It's still a plus.
Still a plus. You're becoming more efficient. And then you just continue. Once you kind of get the culture of automation in your business, where you're like, hey, let's, maybe you have a few automations going right now and you see the benefit from them. So then you say, okay, let's take the next step and the next step and the next step. You don't have to be, fully automated from day one, but adding little steps along the way, pretty soon you're very efficient. When I was selling the windshield repair course, I started off thinking, this was before I even knew this was the right way to go. I started off thinking, oh, if I want to sell more, I just need more sales guys, right? So I just started hiring sales guys, and I had 6 sales guys, and my lead source that I was using, Facebook ads, had kind of leveled off, just because I was spending so much and it was kind of like maxing out, and the audience. And so once I implemented these automations, I was actually able to scale back to just one sales guy, because he was able to manage the same amount of leads because automation was doing most of the heavy lifting for him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. I think some people, and especially you guys that are small there, I get it. You don't have a bunch of disposable income to be able to do some of these extras and stuff like that. I can promise you, whatever you think Chiirp cost, it doesn't. It is something that you can incorporate in your business. Because I get it, when these guys are starting, it's, they're trying to be the dispatcher, the installer, the service guy, the accountant, all those things. This is something that can take it off of your plate. I mean, obviously the big guys need it too, but I know some of the small guys I've talked to have been kind of nervous. Guys, don't be nervous. Trust me that this is going to help grow your business so you can afford to hire people so that you're not doing all those positions. That's the whole point of this,
Exactly right. Yeah, and if you start early with automation before you start hiring, like I said, you're injecting that culture into your business first, and you're growing in the right direction. You're not having to backpedal to try to add automation later, which is just, it just gets harder and harder as your business grows. So so yeah, I tell people, it's like, man, if Chiirp, we want to help you close more deals every single month, but even if Chiirp just helps you close like 1 or 2 deals a year, you're you're covered, right? You're getting paid for it. So it's not it's really, cost effective as far as that goes.
Yeah. Well, plus, like you said, with the follow-up stuff, not to keep beating a dead horse, but obviously we all want new customers. Everybody wants to grow, but your existing customer base is where your money is. That's the people that are going to spend money with you. They're going to buy the big ticket items, and you need to make sure they have service contracts to make sure they know about all your latest offers going out. Staying in contact with them and I've done it the old fashioned way, where you're literally pick up a phone and I'm calling all, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 these people. Hey, this is Gil from Beltway. I just want to let you know we have a special going on, blah, blah, blah. Half of them don't answer the phone. You know what I mean? So having something like this, it just does it for you. And say out of 10,000 people, 600 come through. That's 600 calls you wouldn't have had.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, and that's one of the features. One of the features of Chiirp is the message broadcast, and so I can take a list of past customers, and this because we're, like I said, we're integrated with these CRMs. The moment you sync them up, all your contacts will come over there. But you can grab a list and send out a text message to that list, and I recommend. For your sanity's sake, start small. Start with 50 or 100 text messages that go out to your list, and then close deals. We have guys that'll send out, I don't know if Tersh. He'll send out 100 messages, like on Monday, and he'll get 40 to 60% response rate, and he'll book jobs for the whole week, and then he'll do another 100 on Monday, and he's seeing in his market like $7,900 of revenue from 100 messages being sent out. And I mean, 100 messages is like a few bucks. So that ability to, what would it take? How much time would it take you to sit down and call through 100 people, right? And how many of them would actually pick up the phone? Yeah. Whereas if we send 100 text messages, how many are going to read it? Like 98% are going to read it. And then once they respond, that's when we engage. So it's a softer approach. We're talking to people who are interested, who are responding. And if you have sales guys, the burnout is a real thing. And if you're having them cold call leads and they're getting rejection after rejection, that can really wear on you. But if you're kind of giving them these softballs of, we'll send out these text messages and the responses coming back are people that want to talk, they're never really, they're not getting yelled at for calling people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I remember, obviously, Tersh is who introduced us. Tersh is my buddy.
Yep.
Yeah, and just think about what he's having, and Tersh is in a small market. Savannah, Georgia is small, so that's when I hear some of these people. They're like, "Oh, I can't do this revenue because I live in a small town." And I used to be like, "Oh, that makes sense. I understand." And then when me and Tersh became really close, it's been quite a few years now. And I'm like, well, that's not a good excuse. I'm like, because my friend Tersh is in a small market and he's absolutely fucking killing it. So you can't use that small market excuse.
That's right.
You really can't. But yeah, that's awesome. And you know how it is. Like sometimes it's not that customers don't want to do things. It's just not fresh on their mind. And all of a sudden, ping. Oh shit. Yeah. You know what? I meant to call those guys. I didn't even think about it. Boop.
Yep.
Hey,
exactly.
It's really that simple. And like I said, guys, the messages that come through, like we all know those ones that are automated. We can tell 100%. And I normally hit, stop. So it stops coming to my phone. These are not like that. It's just like if your wife texts you or I text you, that's the kind of text that comes across. So the whole time you think someone's sitting there texting you, and I don't know why I make such a big deal about that. I guess because I hate those automated ones so bad that I didn't want to be doing that to our customers. So the fact that it comes through and looks like a genuine text message, really just means a lot to me. I don't know why that's so important.
Yeah, conversion happens in conversation, right, and not in the cold. And people are becoming more and more numb to typical marketing. They want to have relationships. They want to connect with people, and texting still has that emotion. When you hear the ding on your phone, there's an emotional connection to it, different than email, different than a phone call. It causes a warmer feeling over a phone call. People see spam call, and it's becoming more and more of a negative feeling. And so text message still has that. And what's cool about what we're doing is, people say, oh well, eventually text message will just be like email. And that's actually not the case. The company, AT&T, Verizon, they're taking dramatic measures to make sure that that doesn't happen the same way that email has happened. And so by staying conversational in our messaging, we avoid that. The people don't, and we're not here to pull the wool over anybody's eyes or lie or anything like that. It's the point is just because it's still you type the message, you said it. It's just that you don't have to type it and send it at that one time. And so it's still your voice and your words. And there's these triggers that are just starting these conversations for you. So yeah, to your point, the whole point here is to automate the relationship building process, to have the conversation so that they feel like when they do get on the phone that there's already some established trust there.
Yeah, somebody else came out and they put the salad out, they put the appetizers, and you just happen to sit down when the main course gets put on the table. You
Yeah,
know,
perfect.
you know
Yep.
that kind of analogy. So,
Yep.
I know I had kind of took you off track where you were going on after the follow up. You said more of the behind the scenes. Can you touch more on that?
Yeah. So okay. So if we break up the customer journey into three buckets, right? We've got the front end, the lead conversion stage. We've got the actual job itself, and then we've got after the job is complete. And there's important factors throughout that whole journey. So let's talk. We've talked mostly about lead conversion, right, on the front end, converting new leads into appointments, and then also the follow up. So if we talk about the job and post job, those kind of blend together. The beauty of what we can do with this is from that beginning part, we're going to maintain that conversation all the way through so that the customer is seeing text messages and communicating on the same thread all the way through. We see people tying together multiple systems, trying to make kind of the same thing happen. And by the time the job is done, the customer has received text messages from like 3 different phone numbers. It's very confusing. And so we want to avoid that so that from day one, the moment they became a lead all the way through, it's the same thread. And this is really cool because now when we reach out in 12 months for service through that same phone number, they're going to be able to scroll right back through with their thumb real quick and see that it's who it is. Like if they go, wait, who is this? And they scroll back to, oh yeah, this is my guy, you know? And so that relationship, like I said, automating the relationship. So if we go to the job portion and the after job portion, we have triggers within the CRMs. Let's use House Call Pro as an example. You have appointment scheduled, you have job on my way, job started, and job complete as part of the process. When appointment is scheduled, this is a trigger that it will stop the follow up, the automated follow up for the estimate. So you're not going to keep following up with a lead after they've booked the appointment because that the job is done of that campaign, right? It converted the lead. So we stop it and we start an appointment reminder campaign. And this is, again, a personalized, it's not alert, you have an appointment tomorrow at 2 p.m. with this company. It's not this cold text. It's still conversational. It's still, you remember, those are the ones you were in, Gil. It's like, hey, Gil, just a reminder, you have your appointment tomorrow at 2. I'll see you there. If you have any questions, let me know. It's very, just very conversational. They can respond to it if they need to. You can send a picture of your technician at that point who is assigned to that job and say, hey, this is the technician that'll be there. That's pretty good for some of you rougher looking dudes. Like if you can soften the blow, of the person coming, so they're not shocked when you get there. They know who it is, and it's not this weird thing. And that's really effective because it again, relationship building. Here's your guy. He's going to be there. You can even give, a short bio about him or whatever. So that's the appointment reminder thing, and that's going to lead up, and that can be customized to whatever you want it to be, whatever you want to say, however often you want to say it, leading up to the appointment. You can do that. And then we have job complete, and other triggers as well within that. But job complete is where we get, review. That's where we go into the review process, and then post job follow up. And again, the integration is where the value comes out of this. If you're using a review platform that's just a general review platform, you can only trigger at job complete, and it's going to say thank you for doing business with this company today, or it will be really helpful if you'd click here and leave us a review. I still want to be more conversational. I think one of the reasons we are so successful with our review, because we're still that same person from the beginning till now. Now we're asking for the review in a very personal way. It's not from a random phone number. It's not, it's very personal and customizable to what you want it to be. So some people will just send the review request. Hey, thank you so much for doing business with us today. It really helps if you leave us a review. Here's a link. Let me know if you have any questions. Some people will, send out a text message to kind of gauge the customer a little bit and say, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your technician today? And now Chiirp can recognize the number that they send. If they say 10, we can say, great, thank you so much. Here's a link to leave us a review. If they say 1, we can say, hey, it looks like we missed the mark. I'm going to reach out and call you, and you can Slack alert everybody in your business, all automated. You can tell everybody, hey, there's a 1. You got to call this guy before he leaves a review. And then you can, like, to stay up with, what Google likes, and they want you to send a review request to everybody. You can delay that one so you have a chance to reach out and make it right before you send the link. So you can really customize it to however you want. I'm working on one right now where if they say 10, if I say, hey, how was your experience? If they say 10, I'm going to say, perfect. If I send you an image to post on Facebook, would you be willing to share it? And if they say yes, it'll automatically send the image with and it's like, I just had my carpets cleaned, or whatever, whatever it is, whatever this, by this company, they did 5-star work. Here's their phone number, reach out. So they don't even have to think about the post. They just post that picture and it's done. And then we ask for the review. So there's, and you could do it this way, or you could do it a million different ways. The point I'm trying to drive home here is that if you have an idea, you can implement it in this process. You're not limited to just sending a review request at the end,
Yeah, that's awesome, because we actually, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry. We a bunch of different things that we do for our customers, but one is, rather than giving more money to the marketing companies, we give it back to our customers. And if something like that, if they make that post on Facebook, like on their, not on our business page, like on their own personal, and they tag our company, we take all those people at the end of the month. We gave away like a 55-inch Samsung TV, an Apple Watch, a laptop. We take all those customers at the end, and the people are like, this is crazy. Like, you guys come out and give me amazing service, and then I get a 55-inch TV. Like, this is fucking crazy, But we're trying to be different. We're trying to stand out, and it's amazing how much it works and the feedback we get. So if we can automate that, because are the technicians supposed to say it? Yeah. Do they say it every time? No. You know what I mean? So if you can, all those little things that we can automate, it's amazing. Or even like, hey, did the technicians say something to you about a service agreement, a maintenance plan? Like little things that you can automate that that information is getting to the customer is fucking huge.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep. And you can use this internally too, big time. We have the dashboard where if, let's say you have 5 technicians, right? You can display on the dashboard, hey, Jake got all 10s this week. John got, all 8s and 9s. Jason, they're all J's. I'm just making up names. Jason got all 1s, so Jason's fired.
And he looks funny.
And he looks funny. But you can have this displayed on the dashboard, so you can create, and then this can also alert in Slack. Hey, John got another 10 today, or whatever it is. just to keep the internal vibe going, and create those competitions internally. And then you can be tracking that and tagging people, and that's how you can track your giveaways and stuff like that. And with our Google My Business integration, you can see all your reviews inside of Chiirp. You can respond to them, and you can see what's going on and your metrics and everything there. So so the next part, so reviews, again, going back to it, reviews can be whatever you envision them to be. You're not limited to how it's set up now. And then we go into post job follow up, right, where we want to maintain communication with that customer throughout the year so that they rebook with us when it's time for service. And it's just all automated. And it's so awesome. So, like, let's say you just want to do 3-month filter change reminders, and then in 12 months a service reminder. That's easily set up. You trigger that from job complete. And again, this goes down to the type of job. So we can say, hey, on residential jobs that have this much on the invoice, or this tag, or this technician, or whatever it is, do this campaign. If it's a commercial job, you don't want to do a 3-month filter change reminder to a commercial job, that's the same as your residential one. You want it different from, so you're triggering based on the parameters within your CRM so that everything is specific, not this generic follow-up that's just, hey, it's us again. It's very specific to the type of job that was completed. And that's really where, think about it. If over this next year, everybody that you did business for got into the right follow-up campaign, how easy next year is going to be, because every single one of those jobs is going to be getting the reminders. Every single one of them is going to be getting the service change, in 12 months. And then you just are booking jobs from that ongoing. So.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And yeah, and that's what makes it so neat, that it's not some generic thing. And because if you send the same thing you're sending to a homeowner that you're sending to a business owner, one of them's going to look at it and go, what the fuck? Like,
Right.
what is this? And it's not going to work. So the fact that you can customize it like that, and you're the first person I've never heard of the ringless voicemail.
Yeah, voicemail is awesome. So ringless voicemails where you pre-record a message in Chiirp. It lives in Chiirp, and then you choose when you want that in your campaigns to go out to your customers. So if you want, let's say you just want at maybe on the review request or on the estimate follow-ups. Let's do estimate follow-ups as an example. Let's say on day 3, if they have not accepted the estimate, you can send a pre-recorded voicemail right to their inbox that just says, hey, just following up, it's been a few days since I sent you that invoice. Just wanted to make sure if you had any questions, if price is an issue, if there's anything that's an issue, please let me know so I can, we can figure out how to work together. Please text or call me back on this number. The customer just sees it as a missed call and a voicemail on their phone, and they go, wait, somebody called me, and they listen to the voicemail. And this supplements the text messaging, because text messaging is king, right? That's the best that everybody wants to text. But hearing a human voice every now and then is really good, because it puts a voice to the text message, and is a really good way to supplement the text message follow-up.
Yeah, that text message, I want to ask this, and then we have a question in the chat. So that text number we're texting, if that customer was to call that, where does that go to, like, my office, or like where does that number go, or does it just not go out?
You have full control over where you want it to go within Chiirp. You set the parameters of where you want it to forward to. You can have it forward to your office. You can have it forward to cell phones. You can have it forward at different times of the day. So if you say, hey, if it's after 6 o'clock, forward here. If it's before 6 o'clock, forward here, whatever. You have all these parameters on if the call comes in. And you can trigger things to happen if they call as well. So let's say they call at 10 o'clock at night. You can trigger a text message to go out that says, hey, we've received your call. It's after hours. We'll reach out to you first thing in the morning. If it's an emergency, respond emergency. And if they respond emergency, we can trigger like a Slack message to go to a certain person or certain things. And, we can try to, depending on how you want it set up, like if you're willing to take emergency calls, So So you can really trigger it however you want, set it up however you want.
That's awesome. I think I know the answer to this, but so I don't get it wrong. My buddy Kraus, Jacob in here asked. He said, "Does the thread change once integrated with House Call Pro? Should there, since there could be a current thread with the customer receives an appointment conversation, then once en route sends a text is sent as well. Does it change, or is you like you said before, it's all the same thread, right? Or from the
Yeah.
same
So
number?"
the same number. Yeah. So what I recommend, and this is optional. This is again, everything's optional. Or everything I say is optional. Um, with House Call Pro, we generally recommend if you're going to use Chiirp to just use Chiirp for all the messaging, from the beginning to the end, so that the customer's not receiving messages from a different phone number. For some reason, I hate this for multiple phone numbers. It's just confusing. You're like, who do I respond to? They might, and then it confuses the office. So what I say is, you say, if you have scheduled appointment reminders in House Call Pro, if you have the job on my way, job started, you just replace all of those. We'll put them all into Chiirp, and you continue to operate the same exact way that you are in House Call Pro. But instead of it sending from House Call Pro, it's triggering Chiirp to send the message, so that again, it's all in that same thread.
Yeah, and that's how we have it set up, Jacob. House Call Pro is not sending it anymore. It's coming from Chiirp. So that's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't screw that answer up. That's all. Well, let me ask you this, because obviously something's always growing. Like, say 5 years from now, like, where do you see this? Like, where can this automation be going? Like,
Oh, we release stuff almost daily, but at least a few times a week where we're releasing updates and new features. We just released a more enhanced Google integration for reviews. We're always focusing on deeper integrations to create more freedom. One of the next things we're really looking at is rich text, which is like brand new to the end. We're pretty excited about it, which is, right now you can only through text messaging send text and images, right? You can't send like any type of HTML or code or anything. They're just now getting into that. And I would say over the next year, we're going to have the ability to through text messaging, create a scheduling process so that, okay, so like, let's say they say, schedule, they text the word schedule, or they click a button on your website that says schedule. They can receive a text message, and in that text message has clickable dates and times that they can choose, and then it like confirms, and it can go through the whole process of booking all through SMS. But it's rich text so that it looks nice. There's like buttons, like Calendly or any of these online booking.
yeah,
It'll look like that in the text message. So they're not even leaving the text message thread to book. They're just clicking through, and it's just automatically responding.
that's awesome.
So that's on the horizon.
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet. Yeah, because that's what I use Calendly to do the podcast. It just helps make it, and they have some integration. And yeah, I almost forgot this, like how you were saying earlier about like the reminders, and people, those reminders help because sometimes they book out. Maybe not with service calls because it's on demand and it happens like this, but like maintenance visits and stuff like that, they schedule it, and by the time it happens, oh, I totally forgot my maintenance was today. I'm going to have to reschedule. How much those reminders help, because now that the podcast has grown and like it's booked out a little bit, I put in those workflows of reminders, hey, you have a podcast upcoming with HVAC Uncensored coming on Wednesday, yada, yada. And I noticed that the ones that book out a little bit, I don't have people having scheduling conflicts. So just in this situation, I notice how much that reminder thing helps.
The scheduled appointment reminders is huge, and people get afraid sometimes. They go, well, if I give them the opportunity to cancel, they'll cancel. That's just a bad appointment regardless. So you don't want to rely on that. You want to make sure your messaging is on point, but think of it like this. If I send out a message the day before and say, just a reminder, your call is tomorrow, we're sending out our technician tomorrow. If they respond and say, shoot, I can't make it, or I need to reschedule, that's fine. I have a day now to try to fill that slot, rather than it happening the day of and I'm having to scramble to try to get something else going. And by doing that and giving them the ability to communicate easily, can save you from, showing up to a house that's empty or whatever, and filling that slot. So yeah, appointment reminders are huge, and especially when they're conversational.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Worst case scenario, like you just said, you go out to the customer's house and they're not there. Cost of
Yeah.
gas right now, what technicians make, I mean, that's wasted money. So seems like something so small, but that's huge, and it all adds up. Yeah, I mean, so is there anything?
There's as little like time savers, like as small as like, okay, one of my guys came up with this last year, but there's the job started button in House Call Pro. What he does is right when he pulls his van up, he hits job started, and a text message immediately goes to the homeowner and says, "Hey, your technician has arrived. Please let him in the front door." That seems so small, but he's like, it saves me like 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes a day of waiting at the door knocking. I'm knocking on the door, waiting for them to come to the door. They might be downstairs in their basement. They might be, they can't hear it. But if they get that text message, they can go, "Oh, okay, cool." He's like, most of the time, the door's open by the time I get there and I walk right in and start business. So even those little like 10-minute time savers, 5-minute time savers are huge.
Yeah, well, who wouldn't want to get off 20 minutes earlier every day? You know what I mean?
Right.
Though, it's always say work smarter, not harder. Try to be efficient, and those little things are what make you, be efficient. So you can spend more time doing something that's important and not standing on somebody's porch with your thumb in your ass waiting for them to come in. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
that's pretty crazy. I know we went off. Was there more on the back? I mean, that's pretty much.
So yeah, the back end, really the post job follow up is getting all of your customers into the right type of follow up so that next year they're all getting messages. "Hey, it's been a year since your last service. Let's get you scheduled out." And it just becomes to this point where everybody's just in this culture of, like for me, my HVAC guy, I don't know who it is, and I have to look every time. I got to Google it, and it pops up, and I go, "Oh yeah, that's who it is." If he would just do this and send me a filter change reminder once every 3 months, and when I need service, I know it's just right there. It's just a click away. I know who it is. It's that he's established just a real gentle, like tactful relationship. It's not overdone, but don't do it. They just they get the job and they're on to the next, and they're not really maintaining their customer base as well as they could.
Yeah, you love it when customers have like you, or not even you personally, but the company like saved in their phone.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
This is my guy. Oh, it's my guy. When you want to be their guy.
Yeah, and even if it's the same thread, like you said, it's the same number coming through, they can save that number and like, yeah, I text them, be like, "Hey, I need to book an appointment." Bing, you know what I mean? Like it's just, it really is, and this is the future of kind of where it's going and being used correctly. And guys, there's a lot of things out there that they say that they do stuff like this, and I'm never gonna sit here and bash somebody else, but I just want to tell you that they don't do this. Okay, they don't do this. We have tried them. We've paid for all of them. I'm trying to save all of you the same heartache from doing the same thing. Hatch. I mean, I wasn't gonna say their name. Damn it. Shit. The one we just left didn't do what we needed to do. I'll have to try to cut that out in the audio version. I didn't mean to say their name. Chiirp actually does all that. So, yeah, you guys really need to think about this.
Where people where these companies are really falling short, again, it goes back to the integrations and the freedom. They may be able to create drip campaigns or, these same things we're talking about, but being able to trigger them from your CRM at the precise moment in the right parameters for that right job and that deep integration is the key. We had a guy who switched to us from another company that I won't say the name. He had a great follow-up for estimates, but he offered a progressive discount. I'm not advocating for discounting at all. This is just how he did his business. If the person hadn't booked the job within 7 days, he would offer a discount. I think it was 10% or something. And a lot of times people would accept the job at that point. But then he had another text message go out 7 days later that offered a more aggressive discount. But because there was no integration, he had to manually turn that campaign off. So if they accepted the 10% discount, they wouldn't get the 15% discount text message. And you know how many times he forgot to turn that campaign off? almost every time. So they'd accept it, and then 7 days later they would get a message that would say, "Hey, would you like 15% discount instead of 10?" And how many, they'd already accepted it, and now he's having to honor it because he didn't he didn't turn the automation off. So that integration, we recognize if you are doing that or something similar, if they book at day 7, we recognize that, and it'll stop the additional follow-up. And that's really where a lot of these companies fall short, is not having that ability to trigger when they need to trigger.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I say with Chiirp, and be honest, the girls in the office use it more than me. I just, kind of oversee everything. It's not really what I do. But I can say all those things that it does, the ease of use. So something like this, from a business standpoint, I wanted to do what I needed to do. Chiirp does that.
Mhm.
I need it to
Mhm.
be easy to use. It,
Mhm.
it does that. Integrate with, the CRM that I'm using. It does that. It doesn't break the bank. It does that. So like it checks all the boxes, and that's not even. I've said that, but that's not even just because we're sitting here talking and me blowing smoke up your ass. It really does check all the boxes.
Yeah, and another thing that people don't realize when they sign up for some of these bigger companies is they're signing up for a company, like you said, sitting in California, wherever it is, some Silicon Valley company that's got tens of millions of dollars of capital tied up, and their job is just to sell, 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 so that the next investor comes in, and uh, there's no expert there to help you implement. And so when you join Chiirp, you're joining our family, our team, and we have experts that are here to go. When you go, hey Ryan, I wanted to do this, and we'll look at it and we'll go, nope, you wanted to do this. This is better. And you go, oh, that is better. Oh, I didn't think about that. And then we'll help you implement. And having that community and that automation expert in your back pocket gives you the freedom to come up with whatever you want, and we'll help you implement it. So when I say like, oh, I'm going to do this thing with this social media post, a video that I just released on how to set that up, and then you can hit me up personally, or guys on my team, and go, hey, how do I set this up? I want to do this. I want to do it this way or that way. And we'll say, all right, cool. Let's figure it out together.
Yeah.
So it's so much more than just the software itself. It's this community of automation experts I'm really proud of the community we've put together of home service, owners, and then us that are, so interested in helping you with the automation. So.
That's awesome. Your group, do you have like a Facebook group or something like that?
Yeah.
Or?
We have a Facebook user support group. It's very active. People are commenting and posting in there every day. I'm in there every day. We're coming up with new ideas constantly. Whenever we release new features, we post in there. If there's ever a breakdown from automation, we're only ever as good as the software we're integrated with. So if they break something on their end and we got to fix it, we're on it very quickly. And so that's that group is very, very active and very supportive. If you want to like audit that group and jump in there, feel free to. You don't have to join Chiirp if you want. If you do want to join that group and learn more that way, you can jump in. It's Chiirp User Support Group. Just search that on Facebook; it'll pop up.
Yeah,
Don't forget the 2 eyes. Yeah, don't forget the 2 eyes, and then we're here to, like, my goal is to make your life easier as a business owner. So.
That's awesome. And the other thing I like that you didn't have to say, but just hearing you talk is you were like, we're constantly coming out with new things every day, constantly making it better. I feel like some of these companies are like one-hit wonders. They come out with a good idea, they get it out, everybody loves it, but then you're stuck waiting for what's next and nothing ever comes. You know what I mean?
It's a huge problem. They think that they solved the problem. They just go, oh, we solved this problem with this software. And it's like things change constantly. If something's working now, it's likely not going to be working eventually, right?
Yeah.
And so if the company isn't keeping up with what's cool and what's next, it's going to die. So
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Well, man, I guess, an hour goes by fast. I know we covered a lot. Is there anything you think we missed that you want to get out to the viewers or the listeners about Chiirp that maybe we might have missed?
Well, the key, again, this goes back to the community side of things. We're not a huge company. You will, if you book it with us, it's likely that I will do the demo with you, or somebody high level, but likely me right now. I'm focused on the HVAC community, and so I'll likely do most of the demos. I'm doing most of the demos right now in that space. So you'll meet me, you'll meet my teammates, you'll meet the people in the group, and I'm really all about this relationship. And so I'd love to go in more depth with you. Obviously, we can only show so much on a podcast. You can't. A demo is really key to really seeing how this actually works. But book a demo with us, and you'll see. Like, we'll get on. I'll share my screen. I'll show you exactly how it all works and how you can start implementing. Typically, if you did go with Chiirp, you're onboarded within about a week, and you're off and running. We just we just onboarded somebody last week, and they've already closed a deal. They just posted, but so you'll actually onboard with us. We'll walk you through it, and again, the goal is we want to bring automation culture into your business. So it's not just, hey, here's our software, get to work. It's, hey, here's our software, we're here to help you every step of the way.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Hey, Sean or Mr. Tongue, no, it's not an app you can download, buddy. It's a software that implements in, so there's no app you would need. So if you go back after this airs and rewatch it, like the beginning, then you'll understand more about it. But yeah, this isn't like an actual app that you download.
The app itself, there is an app part of it.
Oh, shit.
Messaging, where you can message in the field and you can do it back and forth in the field. It's a full software program, full CRM with tons of features, but there is an app for when you're out in the field to respond to text messages as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so there is an app you can download.
You don't have it because you're doing it internally in your office, right? And your girls are doing it, so it's not as important for you. But for like owner operators and smaller teams that want to be able to respond to text messages out in the field, we have the app for that as well.
Oh, so there is an app. Good thing that he's here to answer that question because I was wrong. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So yeah, thank you for leaving the windshield business to come do this, because I really think that this is, it's helping people, and it's something that's really going to change the game as far as what it does. And the demo is what, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes?
Yeah, it's 30 minutes, and it's, if I don't wow you, I'll be, I will. Let's just put it that way. I'll wow you. But once you do see that, you go, oh, yep, okay, this is right. Yep.
Yeah. So. Guys, take the 30 minutes to do it. And at the end, if you decide not to do it, whatever, it's on you.
Hey, no pressure. Yeah, pressure. I'm a very, very low pressure sales guy. I let the software do the sales itself. It'll sell itself to you. So.
Yeah, so book the demo, take a look. Please take a look. If you decide it's not for you, then hey, it's not for you. But I know once you take a look at it, that's not what's going to happen. If you book it and you go to www.chiirp.com, so CHIIRP.com/HVAC Uncensored, Ryan is going to give anybody that's a part of HVAC Uncensored Nation 50% off your first 3 months. There is no reason you shouldn't be doing this. We just took all of that out. If money's the issue, okay, you're getting 50% off. You're saving money right there, and you're getting an awesome software that's going to change the game for you. So all the excuses are gone. So, well, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate this. I'm so excited to be partnered with you, man. I really think that we can, keep getting you on, and this thing's going to go to leaps and bounds. I mean.
Yeah, we're gonna help the HVAC industry for sure. I know, like, just know, like, if you're thinking about it, you've heard it a million times. It's like cliche at this point. The fortune is in the follow up. It really, really is. People are busy. They're getting more and more busy. Implement this, get that out there so that at least your estimates are getting followed up with, and you'll see value in it.
Yeah, and don't you, like, everybody says, like, the email is dying. Like, the text is what everybody wants. Like, not saying you shouldn't send email, but I don't think a lot of companies are utilizing text enough. Like, when I send an estimate to a customer, I email and I text it. And it's amazing how many times that text gets more response than email does.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We have email in the system. It's there to build into the campaign. So you can build emails, text messages, voicemails. And I should mention this. we're fully integrated with Zapier as well, and so you can also automate direct mail. You can automate like we have guys that go, okay, in Service Titan, if the invoice is $10,000 or more, send this gift box with our logo and all this stuff on it automatically. So we're natively, we have text message, email, and voicemail, but any automation you can think of, Slack, DocuSign, cookies, direct mail, postcards, whatever you want to automate can be done through this system, and you can use the parameters within your CRM. Where was I going with this? Yeah, but the follow up with the text message compared to email, 98% read rate. Obviously, we know everybody reads their texts. It's way better. But again, it doesn't fully eliminate email, but coupling it together can help you get a more read rate on your email. So if the estimate goes out, text message goes out, hey, sent you that. If you didn't get it, make sure you check your spam box. Like that. Something as simple as that will trigger somebody to look in their spam box, go, oh, there it is, and then go from there. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I agree. Definitely got to do them together. Not saying not to do one and do the other, but those together are amazing. And I think you're one of the only ones that offers the voiceless, or the call-less voicemail.
Ringless voicemail. Yep.
So that's pretty awesome too.
Yeah, the campaign builder is very complex. You can have all of those things. You can have tags that tell other systems to do things. Like I said, you can send the cookies, the direct mail. You can have Slack notifications. You can create tasks. You can do start and stop different campaigns. So all of these things can be happening simultaneously to create the perfect flow. And so, let's say you have an estimate follow-up campaign. Day 1, text message goes out. Hey, sent you that estimate. Wanted to make sure you got it. Day 2, another text message. Day 3, maybe that point you send an email just to kind of change it up a little bit. Day 4, you send a voicemail. Day 5, you create a task that tells your admin to physically call the person. So now the task pops up and she goes, oh, I'm just going to call this person. And you're hitting them from every direction possible. Text messaging being the most effective and everything else supplementing it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So guys, go check out Chiirp. Ryan, thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate you. Keep building this relationship together. I love what Chiirp does. I'm so happy that we use it at Beltway, and I hope that this creates awareness that people realize that something so powerful is out there for them to use as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it, guys. Just book that demo and let's make it happen.
Yep, awesome. Thank you, buddy. I'm going to go ahead and close this thing out real fast. Guys, awesome company, Ryan, an awesome dude, and giving the 50% off for the first 3 months. I mean, you guys just heard this, and you hear about it, but like he said, he couldn't show you the demo. You couldn't see it. When he shows it to you and you see it work and you see how fucking easy and simple it is, it's pretty amazing. So any of these things that I talk about, man, I always say, just check it out. I don't want to force you guys or hold your hand to the fire to do anything, but check it out. Take a look. If it's not for you, then hey, then don't do something you don't want to do. But I really think once you check it out, you're going to be like, holy shit, this is awesome. Because that's what we did. We had used all these other ones that were missing the mark, weren't doing it. We're doing a little bit of what we wanted, but not everything. So when we saw this, I was like, man, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. So yes. But yes, great show, man. Thank you guys for watching it live. So Zeke, Kraus, Tongue, everybody who was in here for the live show, thank you guys, man. I appreciate all of you. Next week, got 2 shows. Pretty sure one of those days I got Mr. Victor Rancor coming back on. So got some really good episodes next week. Make sure that you follow all of the social media channels for the podcast. Make sure you're downloading it, listen it. Subscribe to YouTube. You're on Instagram, the Facebook group. And if you haven't already, leave the podcast a review. I know a lot of you have. If you haven't, if you wouldn't mind leaving a 5-star review, I would greatly appreciate it. That way we can get this content out to more people and keep this thing growing. And the more it grows, the more I can give back to you guys. That's pretty much what it boils down to. So, guys, remember, be safe out there. Always make it home the same way you left. We all got somebody to make it home to. Do the little things. Set yourself apart from the next guy. In this day and age, there's no reason to say, I don't know. Because if you don't know, then you didn't want to know. With the internet, with the podcast, and different things like that, There's no reason that you can't learn and make yourself better. Keep learning, keep grinding, one day at a time, and trust me, you'll get where you want to go. The journey never stops, all right? Keep growing, keep staying there. Remember, I'm always here to help in any way that I can. I don't know everything by any means, but if I can't help you, if I can't find the answer, I'll find somebody who does, all right? Guys, I love you guys, man. I appreciate each and every one of you. Stay safe out there. And until next week, I'll talk with you motherfuckers later. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions